I think we can move on to the defect classification and talk about it. This is new this quarter to Grace. So what we're able to do, we've been focusing on the delivering usable, actionable data to end users. So in our conversations over the past few years, we've found a lot of these vibration systems, the asset condition monitoring, have been installed and pretty much gone derelict inside of a lot of facilities. There's many that have a couple years that haven't been accessed. There's equipment that sits out there. And when we ask about it, why they're not using that one or ours or any at that point, it's because they don't know what to do with the data. They got so many alarms that didn't matter, or alarms that they already knew were going to alarm, but an alarm doesn't tell you anything other than, yeah, it's shaking, and I could feel that when I walked by.
Yep, you know something's wrong.
Yeah, so they get really frustrated. So we're trying to give data so that you know if it alarms, why, what can fix it, or what could possibly be erroneous about that. So if a crane's going overhead and you're getting subsynchronous noise, or so we want a way to be able to deliver that to an end user without you having to hire a system integrator or a vibration expert to come in and analyze that for you. So we're going to analyze the shaft speed, we're going to analyze the rotation, and we're going to be able to tell you with a percentage accuracy what the actual issue is. So if there's a cocked bearing and it's starting to degrade your equipment, it's going to tell you that. It's going to give you a percentage of likeliness that that is the actual issue that you're seeing, and walk you through how to go about fixing that. If you don't believe that, if you think that there's more data and that you can coerce that into being a better fitting response, we have an AI layer on top of that now. So the idea here is that you can interrogate the data that you're getting, and you can add in your real life facility information, past troubleshooting, anything that's going on in the area, any manuals or logs, maintenance logs on the equipment. You can load into this AI system and ask it questions, prompt it, and it'll walk side by side with you. It'll handhold the troubleshooting process, not only just with interpreting data, but with just the general industrial knowledge. So it'll pick through the manual. It'll tell you what you need to start repairing it, how long it might take, and what you're gonna check along the way. Yeah. And then it comes back and it gives you a root cause analysis form at the end.
Yeah. So like Nick was saying too, with the defect classification, it'll tell you if you have a bearing problem, it's 70% likely that this is your issue. And here's the 30% why we're not 100% positive here. And it'll tell you what data you need to basically get to make it 100% positive. So then, like Nick was saying, you can throw that into the Foreman XAI and ask, hey, how do I run these tests? Or how do I get this data? And it can actually reference the documents to your specific motor or pump that on how to do it and what to do, basically. Because, I mean, honestly, not everybody's a vibration expert. They're not a dime a dozen by any means. And they definitely cost a pretty penny to have one on staff. So you don't want to waste any time to be able to fix that piece of equipment, especially with the supply chain nowadays. You never know how long something's going to take. So the faster that you can figure out the problem and have an idea of like, hey, my motor is potentially going bad in a certain amount of weeks or months, et cetera, or pump, being able to order something weeks in advance is going to help you massively with the supply chain issue.
Yeah, we went out here locally. Ben and I actually went to our local recycling facility, and we were talking about GraceSense, which they are now getting installed. And they had their VFDs. One of the things they wanted to see was the current draw on it, because they knew if something's messed up downstream, that one of the earliest indicators is that there's more current going to be drawn through that VFD. They weren't monitoring it, and one of their VFDs burned up, and they had to go and order one, but because of supply chain, they couldn't get the standard. They couldn't get the Rockwell, the Allen Bradley VFD. So now they have a bit of a variety, because 8 weeks was too long to wait to get their equipment back up and running. So the insight, that's what helped them realize, is that if you get a little earlier indication, it smooths over a lot of those processes. You're not overnight shipping anything. You're not taking a $20,000 project and making it a $35,000 project. Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to be able to see the early indication, make a plan, and stop rushing to respond to things.
100%.
And then this ability to interrogate it if you're unsure, or if you don't know if you got misalignment and you don't know how to go correct for misalignment, then you can ask it and it will give you step by step and walk through.